Game-Changing Work channel. It is Wednesday, and our topic for this week is
the
top 3 reasons why purpose-driven life careers are important. And here is where we're going to start diving in, Roxana and myself, to start talking about, this is a really muffed up day. I am like not being able to talk. It's starting really odd. But hey, I'm going to
wake up properly. I feel, you know what? I feel on Wednesdays, Wednesdays are tough. It's the middle of the week, especially Wednesday morning. It's like, oh my God.
I'm just off today. So, but anyways, okay, we're going to rewind. This is the beauty of live. You can't stop and cut and start over. But what we are doing today in the Game Changing Work channel, which we're all about blending personal and work and really changing the game and having more of a people first, purpose-driven career in life and helping people shift in those mindsets and creating the skills that are needed to get there. So today we're going to jump into the top 3 reasons why you should have a purpose-driven career and why it's important.
All right, here we go.
So our first one is related to not having any regret. And so one of the things that with a purpose-driven, when you start to realize the Mark Twain, as I've been talking about this a lot, is, there are the 2 most important things is the day that you were born and the day that you find out why. And when you start to figure out why I am here, why I'm on this earth, and what is the impact that I'm going to have. And a lot of people think that they need to be Gandhi or something like Mother Teresa. No, that's not it. Maybe your purpose in life is to be the best mother that you can be, and you love taking care of people. And then you start realizing taking care of people and helping them is actually what I love to do. And that is my purpose. It might start out with motherhood. And maybe even before you had kids, you started to realize you were always a caregiver. And so when we start to really think about it, it's not the high expectation that a lot of us people think when it comes to purpose. Mm-hmm. It's more really tapping into yourself and who you are about your why. And so when we talk about regret, it's going through the exercise and getting real with yourself. And there's a lot of things that I'm learning and doing with the neuro-linguistic programming language from my life certification, is that you start to really think about even your time techniques, your timeline. And even from the day you were born to your teenage years to when you're in your 20s, or even in our age, where you hit over 35. And so that's when it starts to hit, is when you start approaching between 35 and 45, they say. And in those of you that are familiar with the midlife crisis, is that you start to have those regrets. Oh no. And no, it's not just a male thing. Actually, women have that. And I actually had an article, I think I shared it with you, Roxana, about Gen X, which we are both born in that generation. We were born in that generation where, remember, I can bring home the bacon, I'm going to fry it in the pan, dun-dun-dun-dun. And it was all about a woman that can have a career, can have a job, have kids, and do everything. Yeah. It was like you were Superwoman. And what the reality is, moving from the 50s and the woman staying home and empowering and go to work, it's exhausting. Now, my path, I didn't choose that. I don't have kids, but I have a doggy. And I still spend time as a caregiver in a way of like with my family and trying to do things that I can in that aspect. And even me, when I was a consultant traveling, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
And so
we grew up in that culture. We grew up in a different culture. And I think this is why I love the whole intergenerational mix and talking about what each generation brings to the table, because I think we learned a lot when millennials came with their thirst for life and their own thirst for being happy and independent and creating the best life. I had no idea. I mean, there was no phrase for this before they came into the picture. What was it? What best life? Best life was go get a job, go get
Mhm.
a good job,
It's
get
not
the
about
good
you being
money.
happy.
And
Go work.
it's not about you being happy. It's about having a good job, having enough money to pay your bills and go places and do stuff, right? And then afford stuff. And then, as you said, we kind of took that to the next level where we were thinking we need to be super people, supermen, super women, superheroes. And how long can that last for? I mean, how long can you be on 100% every day?
Yeah.
How long are you gonna last? You're gonna break sometime. I mean, and that was visible. That was visible. That's why we're trying to change things now, because, and honestly, I think we've learned a lot already, because if we're trying to change things, then that means that we're aware of something not working and some things that need to be
And
changed.
this has been happening always.
Yeah.
It's just becoming more prevalent because now you have mindfulness, you have self-awareness, you have a lot of things that are in your face about passion and aligning yourself to things,
Hmm.
but they've always been there.
Yeah.
It's just that we didn't talk about it and we didn't really think that we should. And now we're realizing you can and you will.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of friends that from college, after 2 years, and they didn't really, that's not even in their 35-year mark, right? That we're talking about, that we're already questioning, oh, I went to school and I don't really like what I do. And they acted upon that. Now, the ones that don't do it and they continue down the path because they think it's the right thing to do, that's when it starts to hit the ceiling a little bit more, when we start thinking about how to align ourselves. So it's always a great exercise, no matter what you're doing, even if you're not working, is going, what am I drawn to? What is my purpose? What do I really want to be? And you can channel a lot of positive energy when we talk about our mindset and those negative thoughts, that those regrets will start to fall away.
Oh, I think, and you know what, when you mentioned midlife crisis, 35 to 45, it's like, I remember mine. And no, it's not just the man. And it starts with with you thinking, or me thinking, there must be more to this than that.
I'm
And that
actually going
is,
through it right now. Now
so
that
that
you see
was
my titles changing every single time we get on the show, I'm moving away from agile. Agile coaching.
Mhm.
And because agile actually created a growth mindset for myself and started having me move in this direction. It was actually what got me here. But I started to realize what I really want is to help people go back to that inner childhood, the time when they actually had hope and they really had these big aspirations and dreams, is to realize that it's not late. And what holds them back is a lot what happens here. And I said, you know what? If I can help just a couple people in my life,
Mhm.
what kind of world will that be? And I never really realized that us being game changers, I was always challenging that and always seeing the possibilities.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've always did it well, right?
Mm.
And that's what I'm learning how to do, is do it better, because I love when I can get people to just the smiles on their faces and feeling like, oh my God, I actually can do this. I never really thought that I would ever do something like this.
Mhm.
That's why I became a teacher. So the life of
It's
regret,
funny. Yeah, that's funny
right?
how it all blends like
It
that. And
sometimes you don't even
feels.
realize you moving in a direction. So this is why this exercise, you might already be doing some of these things, is my point.
Mhm.
But the clarity's not there. And when you start to figure out what that purpose is, any type of regret that you're feeling, once you start to have clarity, you give yourself an opportunity to rectify and shift and be on a path that actually makes more sense in your life.
Yeah.
And so that's where, number one, why you need to go for a purpose-driven career is because you need to align yourself, your being, and who you are. And every day that you're getting up and going to work and you're saying, life sucks. Oh, I got to do this. Well, there's a reason for that. And you probably are daydreaming and regretting, and you're probably thinking about the life that you wish you had. That's not a life to live.
It's a life to survive. I mean, it's this difference between surviving and thriving. And I know that and you feel it, it's impossible not to. But it's again, I think it has been so much ingrained in the way we had to do things, because that's how it's done and that's how you should do them, right? So it was, get a job that pays your bills, and it's just a job. We started to think about careers a little bit later on. The job was the job, and then the life was the life. That's why I really make the distinction when we talk about work-life balance. Even that, see what happens there? It's work and life.
It's not separate.
And then you have to find the balance. We're not dead at work, people. We're actually alive.
Any of you that are in that state, I'm going to call it the denial state, that you actually can be two people. You're struggling internally. Mm-hmm. And this is why I wrote an article on my ingeniousagile.com, and I posted on LinkedIn why every company should have a life coach, because for these reasons, and to really help people with their mindsets and shifts of what's actually happening. Because when you're more whole, you're not going to walk to work and say, having any kind of regret. We're talking even the minus things, the regret what you actually do every day. When you are aligned more of who you are and what you're most passionate about, those regrets starts to become slimmer. And I think that's the important piece. And so are we ready for number 2?
Yeah, I think so. I just want to say, don't forget that you're not living your personal self at home when you go to work, and you don't leave your work self when you come back from work. Because, by the way, you don't come back from work anymore, because all of us work from home almost, or the majority of us. So it's quite a fine line.
We always on our channel, don't forget to always subscribe to our Game Changing Work channel on YouTube. That's when you're always going to get notified, but also comment while we're talking right now. And we have somebody that actually, since we stream on multiple platforms, we stream on LinkedIn, Facebook, multiple Facebook, my personal one and Roxana's personal one. We're on Periscope, I think Twitch. So we're out there. But LinkedIn, we have someone that says, we'd love to hear your thoughts about purpose and how you find it. And we probably need to channel into how you find it. Today is the top three reasons why, but thank you for that feedback, because there are a lot of different types of activities that you can do that will get you there to find that clarity. So we're going to write that down as a future topic. So thank you for adding that. Now let's get into number 2 here. Well, so we have, if it wants to work, is achieve extraordinary results. And what this is really about is, again, when you know who you want to be, and what I learn a lot in NLP is neuro-linguistic programming language is the be, do, have. And they talk about that all the time. And that's what it's always reiterated everything. And if we're always focusing on having or focusing on doing something and not getting clear on who you are, the be aspect, the results that you do and how you are aligned to may not be the magic and magnificent person that you can truly give. And so when we think about just as an individual in your career and why it's important to understand who you want to be, which is related to your purpose and the identity of who you are, we're not getting that extraordinary result out of you.
Yeah.
You might be a high performer and just getting things done, but that has nothing to do with that passion that comes out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And
That
those
has
are always the
nothing
best
to
results.
exactly, and I think that has nothing to do with how people can contribute best. And I've seen it so many times, and I know that you've seen it too. You have people working together on projects. Now, if people don't know why, they don't know where that project is going to take them, and they need the higher picture of, okay, what are we going to do with this, and where is it taking us? It's like the roadmap. I know that we as a team have to get there to that point.
Yeah.
And then because I know that, I know that I can contribute. Now, if we're all driving on a minibus, I know that probably I can offer to drive at some point, or I can offer to come up and play some music and have my playlist, or I can offer to bring food, or I can offer to bring water or something, right, to get us there. Or I can look for maybe alternative routes that take us there, and maybe one of them takes us there faster. And all that because I start thinking the minute I know, oh, we need to get there, and we need to get there together as a team, well and in one piece. And here's what I can help with. And maybe there's a better way for us to get there. Um, that's what happens when you give people the higher purpose, and when you look as an individual as at the higher purpose. Okay, I need to move through the nitty gritty, but I will know why, and I will start being more creative about it. We talk about creativity and innovation, that we need them so much right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they start, with me knowing, hey, I'm doing this for that. And then I will get the nitty gritty sorted differently, and that will give me more motivation.
And if we think about organizations, they first channel as a company, and I hope they're thinking about their purpose, right, in the world and the impact.
Yeah, some of them are, at least.
Yeah, I said hope. But here's another thing. They also should not be afraid to help an individual find their purpose. And this is why I said every company should have a life coach. And here's why. You don't want employees, again, like the first one, in regret and not really align. Now, so what if your company, when they go through this process, realize this company isn't going to align with it? Aren't you better off as a company? Aren't you better off as a manager? Aren't you better off as a team member that someone actually is going to be doing something that they're most aligned to and passionate about, where they think they can make an impact? And yeah, it might not be in that same job. Maybe it's a different role in the company, or like I said, they have to move on. But helping someone move on is probably the best gift as any company, because the love that they do for the people that they bring in, that really shows that they care. It's like the post that I saw on Burger King where, I don't know if you saw that marketing post where they were saying, hey, during this pandemic, go through a drive-through, go in and go get a burger, shop at McDonald's. Well, that's being selfless. And if companies start, yes, you're running a business, you need employees, but it's a win-win situation. The more that you're selfless and bring that love for the people that you have, you're going to have all the right people in your company that are there for those right reasons, and no regret. And you're going to get extraordinary results from them.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Well, because people weren't used to thinking this way. It was, again, the old, and we're breaking from that model, I think, and I see it. I see it very often, and I think especially small businesses and startups, they do have this drive to make things happen for them and for others, and they do care about what happens around them, and they do care about their people. This word care, by the way, this has had nothing to do before with the world of work. Caring wasn't in the picture. It didn't have a seat at the table. It
Wow.
wasn't about caring about your people. Your people were there to do the job, and that was it. If they weren't happy about it, fine, just go. I have somebody who can
Mhm.
replace you. I think and I talk about it a lot right now. I think we also are very much aware of the costs of losing good people that we have in the team, in the company, in the business, leaving the business or the company, and leaving because they don't want to work with us anymore, because they don't like it anymore. It's not that, you know what, you as the manager or the leader, you can encourage people to find their purpose, to find their drive, to find that thing that lights the fire in them. And then you might split, and you might part ways. But the thing is, the beautiful thing about parting ways nicely after you've cared for one another is that you will continue to work together.
And what's the fear? What are you afraid of if they
What?
leave you?
Yeah.
How about if that person ends up being a CEO of a company and ends up being a buyer? Or, it becomes a partner. Don't knock it until you try it. You can't have a fear of rejection or feeling this abandonment that they don't want me.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
think we can link to
the
to
next
point
one.
number 3, because I think that's a good segue to it.
And so the last one is motivation and long-term engagement. And that really ties into, again, not having regret, getting those extraordinary results, and that motivation. Because if you're aligned to really what you know is important to you,
Yeah.
and that long-term engagement is going to naturally be there, because think of it, I'm home. And when they say that, they actually can mean that. Now, again, long term can be subjective, but with today's world, as things change and what they need, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of investment in a company. All right. And I think we talked about this before. Yeah. And I remember having a conversation with my father, being in HR, where that retention rate of keeping someone and that investment of onboarding them, the training, just all that time is a lot of money that goes out the door. And so motivation and a long-term engagement is very important, because you at least want to get your return on investment. How long does the employee need to stay there in order to be worthwhile? Because the longer knowledge that's there, do you want to lose that? Knowing the business or knowing your systems, especially in technology today, we all know it takes a while to learn your platforms and all the integrated systems, or how your business runs, every time that you have to go into it. And so thinking of Internet of Things, plugging in doesn't happen like this. Now, you can take all your industry knowledge, you can take all your skill sets, like if you know how to code a certain language, or if you're really good at social media and content, great. That's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about what you don't get until you actually spend time in a company.
And until you spend time, in the company, and also thinking about the stuff that makes you, that fuels your motivation and engagement. Because it's not about, we can motivate someone else up to some point.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about when we talk about motivation and engagement long term, that's intrinsic motivation. And that is the kind of motivation that we are responsible for finding for ourselves, and maybe also communicating to people around us what makes us engaged and motivated, what makes us feel this way and what doesn't. And I think this is an important part of the conversation in teams. And I love working with teams and meshing them well together. These are the kind of conversations that you can have when you are all aware of the common purpose. That can only open more discussions, as in what can you contribute with, what can you contribute with. That's all related to purpose, and it's
Uh-huh.
not about fear anymore then.
And I love what you were saying, and I want to hone in on this, especially with me being, focusing on empowerment and mindset
Mhm.
in coaching is, and it's always, even my coach always says, you are at cause. So it's not up to the company to make you happy. It's not up to the company for you to be aligned to your purpose and do something. Okay. This is why I say it's important to have a life coach in the company, because they can help enable it.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's the willing and the person that actually wants to go through their own transformation to understand that. So I want to be very clear on that. If you're waiting for the company to make you happy and to do things, you're missing the point.
If you're waiting for anybody else but you to make you
You're
happy,
missing the
that's
point.
not that's not gonna work. It might work for a short while, but that's not
That's a
what
band-aid.
we're talking about, right? We're not talking about sprints. We're talking about marathons here. So if you're looking to be happy long term, that is up to you. It's up to you to find
And
that.
that's a whole other topic, is when it comes to feelings
Mm.
and mindset. Okay. So as I talk about, and as we wrap up, and we could probably jump into my webinar today, is really my last of the Agile series, because I'm really just focusing on mid-career professionals.
Mhm.
But what happens to your Agile mojo is really going to be talking about these things that we're talking about today. And that is really looking at your own transformational change, not really focusing on how you feel, your behaviors and skill sets. It's really taking it higher. So it drives all those things below. So if you are interested in coming to my free live event, I'm always on my Rethink Veronica YouTube channel. But in the description of the Game Changing Work channel, Roxana and I always have the links to all the events that we talk about in all our shows, and any type of recommended books or any kind of goodies that we want to share. You always will get them on YouTube. So that's why I say subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get this information in whatever platform you're on right now, because that's where we put all that info.
Yeah.
And you have a upcoming event.
I have
What's going on with Roxana World?
Roxana World is building a global community of learning and support for people who manage people in teams. So join the Lead for Legacy League. I have a Black Friday offer, which I'm gonna keep until December 15th, because I want to put it out there for people who manage teams and people every day, who are very hands-on, boots on the ground, who were maybe promoted and who have been doing that for a while, and they were just I've seen this so many times. People get promoted and they get thrown into the water, and now sink or swim. And then you have to manage people, you have to manage teams, you have to manage projects, you have to manage yourself, and you're overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. So if you don't know where to start, join the league, because that is, I think, especially now, it's crucial for people who lead other people to also take care of themselves, to feel supported, to feel heard, to get ideas and communicate and brainstorm and network with other people, with peers that don't judge them, that have no expectations from them, but just are there to support them. So you get the technical information, you get online courses, award-winning online courses, you get the power of community and a lot of brainstorming that you can then take back to your team and work well together, of course, and be happy about the way you work together.
So we are at the end of today's show.
Yeah.
But again, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you're always going to get upcoming live events. You'll always know what is there. And again, please like any of the videos if you go on our YouTube channel or the other platforms that you have, and provide us some feedback on some topics or things that you're interested in. And we will always be able to see it there on YouTube channel. So that's why we encourage a lot of you to subscribe and put comments in there and any kind of feedback. You will have the description to all the things that we mentioned. Mm-hmm. And we're starting to structure. We'd love to see, what we can do to add on there, again, like recommended readings or anything that's going to help people on that. So we're growing and learning and forming. And so come join us as we grow with us, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And I want to say before we go, on Friday, we're talking about this. Why not being able to plan and strategize is tough for some.
Oh boy. And that's a big one, because here's the thing is, why is it's so hard for everyone? And so come join us on Friday as we're going to dive in, because there is a reason for it.
Oh, yeah. Find out on Friday. Until then, over
Bye, everyone.